Hello there folks, and welcome back to another speed paint video. This time I've got another batch of Pokemon fusions, since I haven't done those in a little bit. So for the summer, I thought it would be fun to do like a water-type Pokemon, since that feels appropriate for the hot weather. And one of my favorite water-type lines has got to be Feebas and Milotic. I mean, these guys are just iconic. And I think a lot of people love Milotic but have lukewarm feelings about Feebas, but I think Feebas is pretty cute. I think it's very successful at looking like a mysterious, ugly sort of fish. But I don't know, I feel like it looks kind of like an old piece of pottery. You know, it's not just ugly, it's like kind of beautiful. I don't know, there's something very fun and mosaic themed about Feebas and Milotic together, and I think they're just such a fun duo. And I thought it would be fun to make some fusions on these guys, so without further ado, let's get into the speed paint. I started off my fusions by starting with other Pokemon that live in and around the water. So the first one I thought that would be fun was the Paldean Wooper line with Wooper and Clodsire. I tried to incorporate elements of Wooper's design into Feebas by giving it a lot of like heart things, like it's very famous that that one Wooper has the heart pattern, and also the way that its little bone-shaped gills look kind of end in a heart-like shape in the same way that a female Pikachu's tail does. So I tried to incorporate that shape into a couple of the elements for Feebas as well. I also made it look like it has kind of a skull pattern on its face to further emphasize the bone element of this poison Pokemon. And I just had a lot of fun coloring it also. I just love the palette of Paldean Wooper and Clodsire, and I really like the combination of purple and brown together. For the Milotic Clodsire fusion, I ended up going with some nice big chunky like big fins. The hair fins that Milotic has, I'm not sure if they have a name, so I guess I'm gonna keep calling them fins for the rest of the video. I tried to make it a little bit inspired by Clodsire's spikes here, and I also try to incorporate a lot of just like chunky elements to really emphasize like the slimy and muddy aspect. Like, while regular Milotic and Feebas have kind of a stained glass vibe with the patterns, especially on Milotic's tail, I wanted to go with a softer edged, more gooey and mysterious sort of thing. I also made the tail on Milotic way more rounded to emphasize the very round and chunky way that, you know, Clodsire just is. It's such a cute, round and chunky Pokemon. I love that little guy. I also went ahead and made the markings on the neck look like bones as well, to further emphasize the skull and crossbones poison type vibe that Paldean Wooper and Clodsire have together. I just had a lot of fun with this one. I think this is such like a unusual combination of Pokemon to combine together, but I feel like they go together really well. My next fusion I went with was the Spheal line with Spheal and Walrein, and I thought these would be a lot of fun because this is another set of Gen 3 water types, and I feel like they couldn't be more different from Feebas and Milotic. Like, I feel like you can so easily see the relationship between Spheal and Walrein, whereas the relationship between Feebas and Milotic may seem a little esoteric at first. But yeah, I thought it would be fun to combine them. I gave Feebas just a very round sort of vibe. I made its fins look more like the flippers that Spheal has. I gave it the classic counter shading that Spheal has. And I really just tried to emphasize the round, snowball, little shaped creature. I also gave it the two fangs that Spheal has, which really makes it look more like a classic ugly fish in my opinion, which I think is just perfect. Who would have guessed that adding seal elements would make this fish feel more like a fish? For Walrein, I did a lot of really cool stuff with this Milotic. For one thing, I gave it tusks, which is fun because Milotic doesn't really have teeth in its base design that I can tell. So yeah, giving it really big ones is just very fun. I made those big fins on it look a lot like Walrein's mane. So it's got like this snowy cloud sort of look that I thought would be a lot of fun. And most notably, I gave this guy flippers, just like a classic little pinniped. I really gave this one limbs in a way that I did not do with the rest of the fusions, but I feel like it really emphasizes like the Walrein's shape. I even made the tail look a lot like Walrein's tail. And this is really just like, what if Walrein was long? Was sort of the inspiration for this concept. And it was just a lot of fun to do. This combination is such a weird combination, but I still have fun with it. I love its menacing face with the big teeth. It is such a mean looking Pokemon in a way that I think is very fun. The next two combinations are a little bit less intuitive with Milotic and Feebas. My next one is going to be Charmander and Charizard. Now, these are very popular Pokemon, and these pairs together are just like very, very popular, but I don't think most people would think to combine them. But I had the idea of making the fins on Milotic be the color of Charizard's wings with that teal thing, and I just went right there from there. It was very fun. I gave Feebas mostly just the coloration of Charmander with a little bit of like an underbelly, just like how Charmander has its little yellow belly. And I didn't change too much about its design. It was really mostly about the color for the Charmanderification. For Milotic, this is another very simple one. I feel like Charizard and Milotic both are comprised of fairly simple shapes. So my goal here was to just really emphasize the elements of both so it felt like a hybrid. So the antenna-like protrusions from its head are built more like Charizard's horns, and the coloration there is more like Charizard's wings to really give it that winged silhouette. I also gave it that cute yellow underbelly that Charizard and its line have, and of course the tail had to be on fire because, I mean, that's like the whole thing with those guys. While it would have looked a little bit awkward on Feebas, I think it looked really good on the Milotic, and I think it's just a fun combination. Honestly, it's kind of weird combining these guys together because I think most people wouldn't think to do it, but these two very popular Pokemon go very well together in a design, so this was a lot of fun to draw. My last fusion combination is one that has very little to do with literally anything in the Milotic design, but I thought it would be really cool, so I just had to do it. It's the Togepi line. So Feebas has a lot of designs taken from Togepi, and the Milotic takes a lot of design elements from Togekiss. And this thing was just a lot of fun. I just really wanted to have fun with the colors on this one. Kind of like with the Wooper having the top fin on the Feebas looking a little different, I went for a big heart shape on this Feebas to really emphasize the fairy typing and to really make this thing look super cute. I made its eyes even a little bit extra shiny, and yeah, I just wanted this thing to be so cute. I wanted it to really look like the Togepi egg, so I really tried to emphasize the roundness, and I really tried to do the triangle pattern that the Togepi egg has. And man, this thing was really cute. I even went with like a two-tone thing on the tail to make it feel a little bit more, I don't know. I wanted it to feel multicolored. I wanted this thing to feel like a speckled egg in as many ways as I could. I even made each of its fins a different color, and I just had a lot of fun with this little Feebas. The Milotic, on the other hand, was a pretty different beast. I really wanted to make this thing feel very elegant. Since Milotic and Togekiss are both on Cynthia's team, I kind of took a little bit of Cynthia inspiration here. So I made this thing very elegant, I made its fins really long, and I was very generous with the triangle pattern all across its body, not just on the tail. And speaking of the tail, I made the tail pattern pretty different from default Milotic. While the regular Milotic has mostly solid triangles and rectangles within its pattern, I made the triangles more hollow, more like how the Togepi line looks. And I'm just very happy with this. I thought this was so much fun to do. It was very fun to incorporate like the wing swirls into the fins. It was so fun to work with this color palette because it is just so charming. And this design overall is just like so much fun. I feel like it's very fun to do fusions with the Togepi line because they have such like good iconic elements that are also extremely flexible. And this was just a very fun design to do, so I am very happy with how it came out. And with that, that's all that I've got for you guys today. If you really like these designs, they're actually up for sale on my Ko-fi page right now. So if you go to my Ko-fi and check out my adoptables, these sets are up there for only $35 each. So if they're still available by the time you're watching, then go ahead and check them out. If you don't want to buy them, you can always just let me know which one was your favorite though. I think my favorite one to draw might have been either the Togepi line or the Spheal line, but honestly, I had fun with all these. They're just very fun Pokemon to draw. If you would like to support me, why not check out my Ko-fi page? Like I said, I have adoptables on there, but you can also check out the rest of my shop, you can commission me, you can support me monthly. It makes it a lot easier for me to make these videos consistently and to rely on my art as a source of income, so feel free to go check that out. Also feel free to go check out my Palm Street page. I have some things like stickers and pins and other physical merchandise on there, and sometime soon I intend on doing an auction on there to sell some old paintings of mine. as well as a few old leftover stickers, just to clear up my inventory. So if you're interested in any physical merch from me, go check out my Palm Street page. I'll put info about the auction on screen now, since I'm still figuring that out at the time of recording, but I'm sure I'll have a thing scheduled by the time you're watching this. Art fight is happening right now since it's July, so if you would like to attack me, I am Aqua Spider on there. I'm on Team Crystal, but I'm not afraid to friendly fire. I'm once again trying to hit my goal of 100 attacks for the year, so I'm more than halfway there at the time of recording this, so we'll see how far I am by the time you actually see the video. But yeah, if you would like to attack me, I have plenty of characters on there for you to check out. And with that, I believe that's all I've got for you guys today. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all again next week with another video. And in the meantime, why don't you all go out there and make some art?